How's it going, guys? Welcome to Audio Addiction. We have Balcony Talk with us tonight. He can say his name, what he does, and all that jazz.
So, my name's Anthony, and Balcony Talk kind of has like a kind of a long history, but I'll short it down for you guys.
No, take as long as you want, which is kind of the lead into the first thing that I usually talk about with bands, which is like, I guess, how did you start out in music specifically? Like, what got you into writing, making, and produce? I assume you do some production work to your music.
Here and there.
How did that kind of all come to be? And were you kind of in bands before this, and then you wanted to do your own thing? Just give me like the Anthony origin story, pretty much.
Got you. So it all started when I was like 7. My dad would sit me down and he would show me music from his time because he grew up in like the 50s and stuff. So he showed me a lot of like doo-wop and
Nice.
like the Temptations and the Flamingos, and I just grew up with that kind of stuff. And eventually I kind of morphed into my own style, and it kind of became like an identity. Like music became like an identity to me. Like,
Hmm.
well, he has his 50s and doo-wop stuff. I want to have my stuff. So then I started listening to like Blink 182 and Green Day. So bands like that kind of became my identity. So
Hmm.
that's something that I could show my kids, like, oh, this is what I listen to. Um, but yeah, and then like I started playing guitar, and then I was in bands before. I was in a band called Autumn Estate,
Okay.
just New York based bands, and Setbacks, and Balcony Talk was always my solo project and my kind of something that was on to the side. Now, within the past 2 years, it became my main thing.
And how did you kind of like? Was it something that you feel like kind of happened overnight, where you're like, yeah, I want to do what Balcony Talk is doing, like, and you're kind of like, I want to say you're like fading out from like doing band stuff because that always, I feel like that's kind of like a negative way of thinking about it. But like, do you feel that? All right, like, do you feel like you're a very like self-motivated person where you're like, I need to have my stuff, like there's stuff that I want to talk about specifically, and like you felt like Balcony Talk was like the perfect crossroads for you to be like, well, I want to write solo music, and I also kind of want to like be able to like do what I do with Balcony Talk.
Oh, 100%. That was, you described it perfectly. That's how. So like, I was in old, my other my last band. You know, we kind of we got pretty far. I don't know. Are you from New York
I'm
or?
from I'm from Jersey, so I'm not that
Oh,
far
okay.
away from you. Yeah, we're
So
close.
there was we headlined this venue called the Gramercy Theater. I'm not sure if
Nice. Oh
you're
yeah.
familiar.
Oh yeah. I know the Gramercy. Yeah.
After that, it was like, man, we're on top of the world. We just headlined this huge venue. But I don't know, it was right after that where I was just like, the band took a direction that I wasn't really, musically, I wasn't, fond of.
Hmm.
And, there was just a lot of Balcony Talk was always, because like I've struggled with mental illness for
Yeah.
pretty much my whole life,
I feel that.
and it's a lot of stuff from the band that I was in. We just weren't talking about that kind of stuff, and just musically, I wasn't into it. So I'm just like, Balcony Talk was always my side project, and I thought it was just time to make it into a main thing. And I don't regret it since, because I'm pretty much the boss, and I say, what I write, I'll write. I just put out a like a hip hop kind of lo-fi beat,
Hmm.
you know, and then I like in 1 minute, and then the next minute I'll come out with like a rock song. So
Yeah.
there's no, but like I feel like in bands you have to stick to one genre because you're a band. But that's one of the beauties of being a solo artist.
No, 100%. And I feel like I checked out your stuff because like I feel like if I doing an interview stuff, like if I ain't checking out like bands and things, then the bands I have on, then it's like why would I have them on to talk?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so for me, I felt like as much as like I kind of I get your understanding of where you come from for sure. It's like I do feel like there's this like thread of consistency like through your writing where you're just like it just feels to me like regardless of what you're doing it still feels like balcony talk. And you know I have to commend you for that because sometimes it's like with bands and stuff like it's hard for them to kind of like jump through different hoops basically. And I feel with like a lot of solo artists like they're willing to take that risk a lot more times than like in a band because like when you're in a band you have like depending upon how large the band is you could have like three or four other people that you have to like talk with and be like yo like this is what I'm feeling, who else is on board. And then they're like I don't know like. And
Yep.
I'm not dissing bands whatsoever because that's primarily what I listen to. But like it's I gotta give you kudos for that because like shit it's like that sort of stuff's like really hard to do. And to also just kind of do it consistently with like kind of like the same kind of like vibe and feeling throughout. So I feel like at least for me you know upon like first listen stuff like that I feel like you definitely have like a cohesiveness to the way that you like write. And the things that you talk about are really like I feel like kind of cut to the point. And so I definitely appreciated listening through to some of the stuff that you sent over.
I appreciate that, man. Because like, um, actually, I mean, you're not the first person to. I appreciate hearing that. I appreciate hearing like that. I have like a distinct sound that you can kind of just like a consistency. So I
Yeah.
really appreciate that. Um, it's definitely hard because I think it's harder to be a solo artist because I am very like motivated, but honestly, like it's very hard to stay motivated
Yeah.
being by yourself because with a band, one of the beauties and one of the things I miss about being in a band is that it's like a family. They're
Yeah.
like those guys became like my brothers. And we played out of state shows. I've been to states where I never been before, and it's just these life experiences that you experience with them, and it's like it kind of broke my heart to leave the band because
Sure. Yeah.
what I mean. Like I still love the music. I still and I'm still friends with everybody in there, but you know, being a solo artist is just it really does has its ups and downs. It has its I like being independent. I like writing stuff that I want to write, but then at the end of the day, it's just me,
Yeah.
and nobody. There's not really a support system, so it's tough.
Yeah, no, I think it gives you the liberty to like express yourself more and like to take it in like a direction that you feel comfortable with. And there's no like barriers to entry because you're just like who else is gonna stop like.
Yeah,
And so I feel the same way with like what I do here is like for me like I don't have somebody sitting over my shoulder and telling me like oh these are the type of bands that we want to see on the channel and
right.
stuff. And obviously a lot of my focus is like heavier music and like the sister genres and stuff. But like um it's I can totally feel your understanding of like self motivation and stuff because like there's definitely certain days where I'm like I work a 9 to 5 job and then I'm like
Yeah,
do I really want to sit here like in front of my computer for like a couple hours and like talk to other people. I mean obviously now because I feel like we're in a pandemic so like it's
yeah,
tough to always like be with other people. But it's to me it's like something of an outlet. And obviously I feel like for you and like rating music is the same thing. And so obviously I'm sure you get a lot of people telling you to keep doing it. But like honestly it's cool to see solo artists and just artists in general taking a lot more risk with their music. And like I feel like now is like the perfect time to just be like listen I'm just gonna put out what I want to do. If you guys like it cool but it doesn't mean that it's always gonna remain the same. Like I'm always trying to like grow myself, try to advance my skills and all that sort of stuff. So I kind of feel the same thing for you. You're always trying to like evolve, take from different genres and like really kind of find your sound. Even though I feel like you've kind of gotten to that point pretty much.
yeah. The thing is, it's funny because it's like I've gotten to a point now where I'm actually just I want to rebrand or kind of re reestablish my sound. So like
Mm-hmm.
with I think I sent you "I'm Lost Without You," the music
Yes.
video for
Yeah.
that, and that's one of my strongest songs. And I'm gonna keep writing stuff like that. I have another music video coming out actually Friday. It's a lot heavier. Um, but I kind of want to. I'm thinking, that's probably gonna be the last heavy song that I
Sure.
release.
Yeah.
It's just, and you brought up a point before where it's like, you kind of just write for yourself, and that's really the mindset that I've had for the longest time, where it's like I'm not afraid to write personal stuff because I look at it as like I'm writing a message to myself and I'm putting it up online and in like musical form, and whoever listens to it, cool. If you like it, then I hope it does. I hope you connect with it. But if you don't, then it's okay too. Because these are just it's like a message for myself in the future to like you know I don't know if that makes sense, but
No, no, no. I get it. It's kind of like similarly to me, like when I do interviews and stuff. I'm like, I look back on some of my old interviews that like I loved being a part of, and it's or like people message you and they're like, man, I rewatched our interview like a year ago or 2 years ago, and it's like, to have other people like say you're doing a good job at what you do. I think it's good, and I think like especially for like our music, I think we need enough people out there to just say like like to really promote that positivity of like you're creating shit, like that should be like that, period. Like people should
yeah,
be out there to create stuff, and like really be out there to be saying like if you weren't really feeling it, to maybe like give critique about it in a nice way, or like or to be like, man, I really dig this shit, like this is what I love what you're doing and stuff. And so you know at least for me, like my whole goal is to just try to get people to just find out about people who are just like doing stuff, like just finding that kind of ethic to like work hard and like put out stuff and like be really proud of it. And like I said, you should definitely be proud of the material you have out now, and like and like don't be afraid to kind of change what's going on. Like if it doesn't fit you, like I say that I've said this a couple different times, probably more times than I can even count, but like just like when bands are like, oh, I'm gonna change my sound and stuff like that, I'm just like, what, if it nothing makes me happier than like a band that is doing stuff that they enjoy. It's not like it's not faked. It's not
yeah,
like it's not bullshit. Like somebody's like I like even if it's like, oh, they're not writing heavier music anymore. It's like, are they like happy writing this sort of stuff and like being into it more? I'm okay with that.
100.
I'm okay with like being like, oh, I might not get a heavy song for a while or whatever. If they're happy with writing it and it shows on like their ability as like artists to grow, like that's I'm all about that.
Definitely. It's kind of, I can give like I mean, I'm sure you listened to it, a Day to Remember.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It, their new album just got so much hate. I'm like, why are these people hating
Yeah.
on their
Yeah.
album? I don't. I mean, I personally, I mean, yeah, there's a few songs on there that I didn't really care for, but I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
I respect that they're actually writing stuff that they care about. And same thing that happened to this band called Hundredth, where
Yeah.
they were like,
100th. Yeah.
yeah, they were heavy as fuck, and like then they just turned into like, I don't know how to describe the new sound, but I really fuck with it. Like I really like it, and I mean, as long as they're not quote unquote selling out, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, even if they want to sell out, fuck it, who cares? Like
Yeah.
that's their right.
And at the end of the day, it's like like if they're I don't even want to say if they're selling out for the right reasons. Like if they're making music that makes them happy and they're like doing shit that like provides for their family or whatever or something like that, then like you can't knock that. Like
Yeah,
you gotta understand like Jeremy McKinnon is not gonna be fucking screaming for the rest of his life. Like I can't imagine that's good for his vocals at all.
he's like
uh
80 years old,
yeah.
screaming.
Yeah, like I couldn't even imagine going to like in A Day to Remember show and like have him like singing like Downfall of Us All when he's like 70 years old, like
That'd be pretty awesome,
I mean it
though.
would be very cool, don't get me wrong, like if they do that, that would be very weird, but like I'd be about it.
Oh yeah,
uh but like yeah, like I agree with you in the sentiments of like A Day to Remember. Like I personally wasn't like, there was definitely some songs on there that I'm like, oh yeah, this is nice, like, but I also like understand that they're like trying to break into mainstream, you know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah,
And so I, you know, if I fuck with the vision, you know, like I get it, you know what I mean? You're doing you, you know, that's what you want to do, that's fine. But like I never understood why people were just like, oh, this doesn't sound like a day to remember anymore, blah blah blah. I'm like, you know, you can go listen to these
yeah,
records, like it's not
exactly.
like they disappeared for, you know,
Exactly.
they're locked in the Disney vault for forever, you know, like they
It'd
still
be,
exist.
it would piss me off if they took it off like
Sure,
Spotify,
yeah.
but like it's still there, you know. You can't, you know, and again, like you don't want to keep listening to the same thing over and over, you know. Like I kind of, you know, it's like you kind of grow with the band. I mean,
Yeah.
same thing with Blink. Like Blink is that was like my favorite band of all time. I don't listen to them as much anymore, but you know they kind of got more poppy, and it's like, you know, back then when I listened to them, I was the kind of kid where it's like, oh, I'm not gonna listen to pop music. I'm not gonna listen to mainstream. Now I'm listening to Justin Bieber. I don't care. So
Yeah,
like you
music
grow with
cha-
the band.
yeah, music's taste changed too, and like I think it's like I just never understood the concept of like people being like, yeah, like I'm not gonna stop listening to this band now because they're not like what I want them to be. I'm like, you think they give a shit about you, you
Oh
know,
yeah.
like so typing away on your keyboard and like saying like you guys suck, like you know how much money they probably made like on
Yeah.
this new record, like they
Oh
don't
yeah.
care. They're
They,
you know what I mean? Like there's gonna be, for every hater, there's gonna be like seven new fans that are like, yo, I don't know about this band, that's sick, like, you know.
oh yeah.
And
Definitely a good
so it's just growth, you know. And you know, I'm glad you agree, not that like I'm trying to force you into an agreement,
point.
but
No,
like but like I'm
no.
glad you agree with it, because like I feel like a lot of people in our scene can be a little rough around the edges, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, not that I mean, I understand like why, because people are just like you're comfortable with what you know. So
Yeah,
like,
sure.
so it's understandable. But then again, you got like your rational brain would be like, well, you know, like I'll try to listen to the new stuff because you know it's just it's growth, like you said. So, but I think people just are they just familiar is comfortable for them.
Yeah.
So
No,
so
I would agree. Yeah. So hopefully people take, you know, go actually listen to the new record. You know, it's what I say. It's my favorite A Day to Remember work. No, but is it as bad as people make it out to be? I would say absolutely not.
exactly.
It's a solid
Exactly.
record, you know, and that's it, you know. But the
Yeah, it's not
next
2009 anymore.
that's true. That's true. But the next thing, Anthony, because we kind of took it on a tangent, which I'm totally about here on the channel, but getting it back to you, like, who are you influenced by? You kind of talked about some of the earlier bands that got you started into music, but like, who influences you more currently? Like your sound, like what you want your sound to be going further. Like, who are some of the artists that you're like, man, these people really kind of shaped my sound, and like what's gonna be, you know, new stuff with Balcony Talk.
Right. So recently, I've been listening to a lot of Turnover, and
Nice, yeah,
I just love that kind of that they're just very chill, you know, like
yeah,
Turnover. The Bayside is like one of my favorite bands, but they haven't really like influenced what I want to write. But
sure.
if it makes sense, I kind of take a lot of their writing style, the lyric style from them, and so different bands of different genres I take influence from. But yeah, like Bayside, Turnover,
Hmm.
Alkaline Trio is another huge favorite of mine. Who else is there? I also listen to like some rappers,
Nice.
like
Okay.
Aries, Joji is a good one.
Nice. Yeah, Joji's great.
But yeah, there's those are like the main. I would say like Turnover, Alkaline Trio, Bayside are like the main ones that I really listen to. Even though Bayside and Alkaline are probably not the sound you're gonna hear from Balcony Talk, it's gonna be mainly like Turnover and Title Fight kind of stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say that because I, like I said, I always have this like game in my head, like obviously I check the music out, and I'm always curious what people say, like, oh, these are the people that I'm influenced by, and then I want to kind of like line it up with what I'm envisioning. But yeah, no, I can definitely get like some Turnstile, a little bit of like Turnover, which are both great bands,
Yeah.
and I feel like that's a little bit the vibe. I'm glad you mentioned Joji, because I was like, I kind of felt like a little bit, like, because I know he's kind of like, he has like a little bit of like emo rap, like stuff like that. Like, not,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say like your overall sound isn't like 100% that, but I like, if you didn't tell me that like you were influenced by Joji, then I would have been like, oh, I think he's influenced by Joji.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like there's another band that I really like. They're not as well known. There's a band called Better Off.
Yeah, they're great. Yeah,
The sound like sounds like them. Like they were just the first album. I think it was like Milk or something.
correct. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So like I remember listening to that in like high school, and I'm like, damn, these guys are good. But yeah, Joji and Aries is like those. I like those emo rappers.
Yeah.
Um, and I like a lot of my friends make fun of me for it, but it's just like it's good. I love how they fused emo and hip hop. It's like it's amazing.
Oh,
And
I love that shit. That's like some of my, like, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like it's definitely like brought more people into the like alternative like sphere. Like, you figure like, um, I forget. I'm trying to think of his name. He's in If I Die First. He's also the vocalist for I think it's Little. I want to say it's
oh,
Little Lotus or something
oh,
like that.
Lotus. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I feel like now, like, I think the crossover appeal of like people who like indie music and people who like kind of emo, like the emo stuff and emo rap and that sort of stuff, I feel like they kind of like fused a little bit, and there's definitely certain bands that fall under that category of like indie rock plus like emo rock, and then they kind of fuse and make something different. Like, I feel like you definitely sit in those two camps and are in that like that bubble, if that
Oh,
totally
thanks.
makes sense. I also sounded like probably a complete psychopath, but like,
No, no, I hear you, man. Like another, I think the person to like that represents that the most would be Lil Peep. He
yes.
like there was this one story where like there was this band Mineral was trying to sue him for like a beat that he made, and it's like I didn't even know he knew about Mineral. Mineral is like a emo, like you have to be like a true emo to
To
know
know
Mineral.
that, yeah.
So it's like, and he's like up there, and I mean he used to be up there in like the emo SoundCloud stuff. So it's like that's really cool that people know, or these rappers know about those bands, because nobody. I mean, I wouldn't think that, but cool.
No, yeah, and I think, like I said, I think going, at least from my estimation, I think going further, we're gonna see bands that are kind of in that spot. So I feel like you're in a prime position, to like kind of capture
Yeah.
both audiences. And so, like, for me, like, that's the type of stuff I listen to, not like all the time, but like, it's definitely one of those genres that I'm like, you know what, like, who doesn't love some good like emo rock, pretty much,
Oh, oh
and
yeah.
and so I was just like, as soon as I listened to your stuff, I was like, you know what, I gotta get him on, because if he has, like, if he doesn't, if he doesn't take that like emo rock train and just goes with it, then I feel like I would look back and be like, man, he's gonna be like doing some big shit, and then
I
I'm gonna be like, fuck, I should have interviewed him before that.
oh man, no, I mean, I'm trying. I hope so. But like you said, it's hard with the 9 to 5 stuff. Like
Oh, 100%.
2 jobs right now. I'm in college, and it's like, but there's nothing that would stop me, and I'm sure there's nothing that would stop you from doing what you love, because
Yeah.
everybody needs an outlet. You're gonna be depressed as hell if you don't have what you
Yeah,
wanted.
you got to
It's like
make time for it.
exactly, yeah. So like even going a week without playing guitar, I'm like, damn, I'm like really sad.
Yeah. I get it, I get that itch, I like,
Yeah, yeah.
I'll like be editing a video, I'll like, my guitars are in my room, and I'll like look over it, I'm like, man, I haven't played it in a while, and then I'll finish editing the video, and I'll have it like uploading or whatever, and I'll just like mess around on it, and I'm like, man, I'm like, I should probably write something, and then I just like, then I realize like other things take priority and stuff. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
it's like,
definitely a skill that you don't want to lose.
oh,
Definitely.
100%, hundred
Yeah.
percent. But Anthony, next question, keeping it more current. Who have you been jamming recently? What do you listen to kind of in your day to day? And you know, I always love asking this question because you know I get to find out about new bands. Maybe you know.
Yeah, no, definitely. Um, Honestly, I listen to a lot of like stuff that's on Spotify playlists. So I'll
Okay.
listen to like the A Day to Remember playlist, or um like I said, like Turnover more
Yeah.
recently. I'm listening to them a lot. But I like listening to, I mean, recently I've just gotten into like a classic rock kick. So I'm
Nice.
listening to like Eric Clapton and like The Doors. The Doors is the best.
Yeah. 100%.
So I've been listening to them, and then like Lil Peep. I was listening to today, Lil Tracy, stuff like that.
Nice.
So
All
yeah,
over the map. You know.
all over, I'm all over the place.
Which is good because I feel like you know I feel like when an artist has that like representation of like different time time capsules and stuff, it's always good. And like I'm glad you pull from classic rock because I was kind of in the same boat growing up and like listening to classic rock too. So like that was like I don't want to say like beaten into me, but like definitely something that was like a hard staple that like when I like when my parents like whenever I talk about music and stuff, I'm like, yeah, like you know I grew up, my parents like grew up and like I listened to like you know Journey, I listened to like Styx, I listened to like Kansas, stuff like that, Chicago, you
Yep.
know, like all that sort of stuff. So
They're essentials.
I feel that. So I you know that's great era of music that I feel like a lot of people like are like, man, it's cheesy to listen to like classic rock, but I'm like, man, it's great
Like,
shit, you know.
that I'm cheesy, I guess, but
Yeah, I was gonna say that's yeah. I always say I'm like, well, I guess I'm cheesy then and listening to classic rock then.
it's
Um,
definitely an essential though. You got, I mean, I feel like if you're a guitar or a musician in general, you have to. Those are the roots. Because
yeah.
without those bands, Blink wouldn't exist. None of these bands we listen to today wouldn't exist.
Oh, 100%. You gotta show love to the classics, you know. But the next question, Anthony, you know, for people who are checking out this interview, you know, might not know too much about Balcony Talk and are kind of like obviously getting to know you a lot more. What would be one track you would give to like want them to listen to that you're like this best represents me or like is a track that I feel like would represent the band, you know, collectively you the best.
Definitely, I'm Lost Without You.
Yeah.
That's my. I mean, I love all my songs, but I'm Lost Without You has the rock element, and it has, there's a part in the bridge where I do a finger picking kind of
Nice. Yeah.
thing.
I
So it's
remember
like
that. Yeah.
it's that song definitely represents, who I am as a person,
No,
or who
100%.
as a project.
I would also agree with that. You know, like you sent it over to me and it was the first track that I kind of like delved into a little bit more just to kind of get like a you know flavor for what you do. And I was like when you just mentioned like the finger style stuff, I was like I wasn't expecting that. That's really cool. Like, you know, that definitely feels like old school like classic rock, you know, you'd hear that shit from like Led Zeppelin, you know, or
Oh
something.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
and so to me it's like it was cool obviously to know that like you're a classic rock kid much like myself, and so like you know obviously paying homage to that and just like obviously pulling from you know what you do, which is like a rock background, and like I feel like I said earlier you definitely have like some emo aspects and like some indie vibes to like what you're doing, and there's somehow like you mesh all of these different things into like one really cool thing, and I would care to agree with that statement about yeah the song you picked, you know, your latest song obviously, you know.
thank you, thank you. Yeah, I mean the next song that I got coming out, it's Colored in Gray.
Okay.
Definitely a little more heavier, but like I said, I just feel like there's a turning point in balcony talk right now where it's like, yeah, I mean, I don't, I'm not putting down any of my songs, but it's the style is, I mean, the song is great. I just don't want to be in that style anymore. I want to go more towards what I'm Lost Without You is, and more down like that softer rock kind of stuff like Turnover. And I mean, Title Fight's not really a soft rock, but it's something like that.
I got you. Something with groove, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I got you 100%. Next question, Anthony, is a fun one. If you could pick a song to cover, what would it be?
That's a good one. Uh, I would have to choose. That's a good one. I never.
You were really thinking about it, so I know you were thinking. The wheels are turning.
Yes. I would say. Wow, I'm drawing a blank right now. What's that song? It's a song by Alkaline Trio. It's on Crimson.
Oh boy,
Prevent This Tragedy. Prevent This Tragedy. Okay. That's a great song. It's sad, but it's a good one.
I feel like you could do it. Also, I was gonna not gonna be able to answer that because not like I don't know Alkaline Trio's discography like that. I know some of their songs, but I'm not like super into them. But yeah,
I'm a huge fan. I have the tattoo of I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah,
but heart. I have the heart tattoo.
That looks sick. Yeah,
I'm a huge fan.
That's awesome. Well, I feel like you would do it justice. You definitely draw from the same cloth. At least I think so. So I feel like it could be done.
It means a lot.
If you have any suggestions for Anthony, drop them in the comments. I'm sure I'll check them out. Maybe he'll wind up doing one of the comment covers. But yeah. Next question, Anthony. Another fun one. Obviously, you're Nor'easter, so I gotta ask you this important question. What is your favorite food to eat? I feel like I might have the answer to what you're gonna answer, but I'm curious what you're gonna say.
I can't be a typical New Yorker and say pizza.
I thought for sure you were gonna hit me with that New York slice.
Nope. I gotta be different.
I got you.
My favorite thing is penne alla vodka.
Oh,
true
Italian. Listen, you kept it in the Italian lineage, so I gotta give you the props for that. I feel like coming from Jersey, I'm not Italian by blood, but I feel like an honorary Italian. A lot of Italian people live in Jersey, so
by association.
Yeah. I feel like New York is just like Italy, like mini Italy.
Little Italy, yep.
I know they also have like Little Italy. That wasn't a joke. I was just like, I know it exists.
But they all moved out to Jersey.
Yeah,
that's why they're all over there.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, and then I always get. I'm sure I don't know if you get this probably as much, but like any like band friends that come through, they're like, are you like the Jersey Shore? And I'm just like, no, I was like, the whole state is not like like the Jersey Shore. So, and I was like, not all Italians are like the like Snooki and like
those guys in my state.
It's the worst. And Italians. I feel bad for Italians. So I don't know what's worse, either New Jerseyans or Italians in that aspect.
It's like I'm walking down the street. They're like, "Are you Paulie D?" I look nothing like Paulie D. I wish I did. He's a good looking fella.
And making that money, man. He got that hella money. Oh man, I love that shit. I'm glad you experienced the same things. Not that I want you to, but I'm glad you can assimilate that by association. But yeah, oh man, I love a good Italian meal, man. The penne alla vodka is oof.
Can't beat it.
Italian classic right there. Next question, Anthony. Another fun music-related question. If you were to have a guest feature on your next record, as well as a dream producer you'd want to work with, who would be on your dream team?
Tom DeLonge.
Oh, classic.
Tom, man, he was. So, he would be like my dream person to like collab on a song with, go on a tour with, I guess my dream producer would be what's his name? John Feldman.
I was gonna say. I knew you were gonna. I had a feeling. I was like, I think he's gonna say John Feldman.
I was gonna I was drawing another blank. I'm gonna that guy from Goldfinger. You
Yeah,
know,
if you said Goldfinger, I would have been like, it's John Feldman.
it's John Feldman.
That's awesome. Well, that would be quite the collaboration. Obviously, like, I have to ask the fated question. Obviously, I know you're a big Blink fan. Do you like his other projects? Like, I think he was in Boxcar Racer, and then what the fuck's the other one I'm blanking on? Angels and Airways. Yeah.
Yep. Oh,
Yeah.
I love them. I love them. The thing is, I was always a Tom fanboy. I love Mark Hoppus, but Tom always had those side projects where it's like, fuck, he just rules in whatever style he does. Mark Hoppus had Plus 44, which was cool, but I was never like,
I
never
feel
really,
you.
but yeah,
It wasn't like, I get you. It wasn't like it wasn't as off like from like the normal base. Like if you think of like Plus 44, you're like, okay, like I could understand like Blink being like kind of in, it would make sense. But like when I think of like Tom and I think of Angels and Airwaves, I'm like, this is like, if you think about Blink and you think about Angels and Airwaves, like it's different. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so like I get you. Like
gotta respect him for that though. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I saw him. I don't know if it wasn't last year. It was maybe the year before that in Philly, and he was awesome. Like he sounds like just as good as you would imagine him to sound. Like and doing like the old classic like Angels and Airwaves tracks. It was cool. He did some Blink songs, which I thought was nice because like I never really got to see Blink with Tom. Because I just grew up before that point. But like, man, it was cool to hear him singing like some old Blink tracks. I was like not expecting that, but he was like, "How many of you want to hear some Blink tracks?" And like everybody's like, "Who's gonna say no?"
Yeah.
Right?
Imagine somebody's a fan of Angels and Airwaves, like, who's Blink? Could you imagine?
I couldn't imagine. I would be like, you have to know. Like, there's no way you didn't know both. Like, it just seems very odd unless you were like very specific to just Angels and Airwaves. You're like, wow, this guy's got a great voice, and then it'd be funny if like they just heard like an older Blink 182 song and was like, wow, this guy's voice sounds really familiar. I don't know who he is, but he sounds great. And then they find out it's Tom.
About dicks and everything. It's like, that's what made Blink great.
That is so true. So if you guys want to see John Feldman and Tom DeLonge with Balcony Talk, you gotta add them both on Twitter. You gotta make this shit happen. Listen, we're all about making dreams happen here at Audio Addiction, so let's get it rocking. The internet, it's a magical place sometimes, so I'm hoping that, fingers crossed, we can pull through and do something sane.
I'm gonna pray.
Next question, Anthony. You do most of the stuff, if not all the stuff, in Balcony Talk, so I imagine you play a lot of different instruments, but if there was another one you could master, what would it be?
Drums.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, it's very complicated.
100%.
Not very good at like using both arms and my legs to do something. I can play, but like I'm just not as good.
I feel that. Like and you're also keeping the lifelong tradition on Audio Addiction of most guitar players saying drums. I think I've really riddled it down to that we have no hand-feet coordination whatsoever, or if we do, we have very little, and so that's why I feel like every guitar player wants to play like drums. And I feel like for the most part, there maybe be some outliers, but most drummers I've talked to have said they wanted to play guitars. So really? I just think it's funny. Yeah, I think it's hilarious.
Funny. That's like you kind of did like a study, like a little study of guitarists and drummers. Statistically, they want to. But I mean, my second one would be singing. I mean, I'm not a classically trained musician at all. So like even with guitar, I'm not. Chords and like notes, and I mean I know the basics, but like it's all by ear. So like drums and singing would definitely be my top things I would like to work on.
I feel that. I'm also self-taught as well on guitar, so I feel that like that struggle to be like, they're like, oh, that's a sick chord, what'd you use? And then I'm like, I don't know, dude. Like
minor sus.
Yeah, like, I'm just like, it sounded pretty, so I put it in there, like like it doesn't make any sense to me.
I always had this thought where it's like, yeah, I don't even want to be like classically trained because like it limits the creativity. Like I
Yeah.
don't know, I feel like like if you know, it kind of leaves the mystery out of it. I
Yeah,
don't know.
if you're like, man, what am I gonna put here? And then like you went to school and you're like, well, if you're using this chord, then next chord would make the most sense, like
Yeah,
musically. And I'm just like, I'm just a guitar player. I just like playing guitar. I'm not really like thinking about it that like literally.
yeah,
I'm just like, if I can record it on my computer, I can put some, smack some drums on there, smack some bass on there. That's it.
that's
Like
it.
that should
That's
be it.
the best stuff is written when you're just pulling it out of your ass
Oh,
sometimes.
100%. Either that or you're like animals as leaders and you just come up with
Oh,
some just like
or
nuts ball shit,
yeah,
like
I will never be animals as leaders. I accepted that a long time ago.
oh,
I'm
100%.
okay with it. I'm okay.
I'm okay with it as well. It's just like I know I'll never amount to that greatness, which is I'm totally okay with, but I can't imagine people going through that sort of pain.
Yeah, I respect them. Thank you for giving us great music, but I'll just stick to my whatever process of writing.
All right, awesome. Next question, Anthony. My personal favorite, because I'm a nerd and I like asking it, if you could be a video game character, who would you be?
Hmm. I would like to be uh the dude from there's not it's not a specific like character, but that little like the Fallout guy.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Fallout. I love Fallout, so like I would love to be that. I don't know if he's not really like a main character or anything, but like he's cool.
I don't know if, I mean, I don't, post Brandon will find out whether or not he actually has a name or not, but either way, I know who you're talking about, you know who I'm
Yeah,
talking about, so it's all that matters.
I just call
Uh,
him the Fallout
the
guy.
Fallout guy, yeah, I feel like most people do.
Yeah,
Great choice. Such a great video. I love that video game franchise. It's
yes.
awesome. The next question, Anthony, getting back to the music stuff. If you were to compile a dream tour lineup, who would be on it? Obviously, I feel like I have to say this. Your band's on it, just in case you didn't know.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean Blink, of course. Blink, Alkaline Trio, Bayside, and Newfound Glory.
Ooh, nice. Okay, this feels like a like early 2000s like tour.
Yes.
You know,
Even
like
though like my sound would probably not be what their sound is, like it'd probably be the odd one out, but just to be on stage and tour with those guys, like man,
it would be awesome. Well,
that
if you want to see this tour again,
dropping
I'm gonna ask for your assistance. If you want to make it happen, you just go out on Twitter and you make sure to add all these people plus balcony talk, and who knows, maybe it'll happen. We'll insert year it happens.
I think we can make it happen.
I think so. We got
You
enough
gotta
pull.
believe in magic.
The next question, Anthony. I know this is probably a little bit of a sore subject right now. But what is one of your favorite bands to see live, like in terms of like performance? I'm sure you've seen a lot of live shows. But is there any band specifically that stands out to you, like whether it be like great performance or like how accurate they were to like playing or like whatever it may be? Like what was one of your favorite concert experiences?
Oh, bands that I've seen.
Yeah, in terms of bands you've seen, yeah.
Okay. Uh, I've seen. I think the one that impressed me the most would be Bayside.
Oh,
Like
nice. Okay.
they they don't miss a note. And Jack, the guitar player, I actually got lessons from him once.
Very
On
cool.
this was like in the middle of the pandemic, like in March. He was just like on Instagram, like, oh, I'm gonna give guitar lessons. I'm like, I have to, I have
Yeah,
to.
that you have to. Like that's a must. Yeah.
But like, it turns out his writing style is very similar to like what we discussed. Like he's not trained either, and he could have fooled me because his solos are freaking amazing. But yeah, I mean, Bayside was definitely one that's like, wow, like they really impressed me.
Yeah, they're. I mean, like they're. they've been around for such a long time, and I feel like they're just that like staple band. You can't help but
Yeah,
love them.
I'm proud to be from New York. They're from New York too, so he's like they give New York a great name.
Oh,
Being from
100%. I kind of feel the same. Well, I mean, obviously, like Jersey has like My Chem,
oh
obviously
yeah,
now, so that's like another staple. But like, it's just so cool to be like from the Northeast and having like all of these like big staple bands. Like Philadelphia has like the Wonder Years, like it's just crazy that literally like the Wonder Years, My Chemical Romance, and Bayside are like all in like that, the tri-state area. It's just
yeah,
nuts to me.
that is really cool. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like I'm a bad emo fan, but I didn't know that My Chemical Romance was from Jersey.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like a lot of people don't really realize that, but then when I tell them, like, I was like, yeah, because I think one of their first shows was like at Starland Ballroom in Jersey. So I mean, I know like they have a lot of roots here, and it's very cool. Definitely one of the cooler things about Jersey. I know a lot of people talk shit about New Jersey, but
I love
I.
Jersey.
I mean, I don't really care. I feel like sometimes I feel like it's mostly well deserved, but like but yeah, my chem. I feel like you can't touch that. That's like
No,
Grail status there. Um, Next question, Anthony. Another fun one. Favorite TV show, favorite movie.
favorite TV show, Friends. Uh,
Ooh, okay, nice. Was not expecting that one.
no, favorite movie, Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh, classic. You're
Classic. That dude, that's me.
so good. I love it. I gotta watch that again. Such a great movie. Oh man.
Every time I think of that movie, I think of when Uncle Rico throws the steak at Napoleon.
It just knocks him off the bike. Every time I every time I think about that movie, I think about him doing that like interpretive dance. That's like one of my easily top 10 favorite movie scenes.
Oh
Just him
yeah,
doing the
that was that was all improv too. I was watching like the behind the scenes or like an interview with him. He's
uh-huh.
like, yeah, that was just like the talent on that guy is just
I just love that that was all improv. That's awesome.
yeah.
Like he's just like, yeah, I just think if I like do this and I just do the like arm dance stuff, like it'll work, and then they just happen to be rolling. So
Or like the martial art dude.
uh,
That was
with the like the American pants, he's just like, oh, love that movie.
walk away, just walk away.
Just break your wrist, walk away. Oh, great movie. Very quotable. I think definitely a very quotable movie for sure.
Yes, yes.
Um, Next question, Anthony. Another fun one, music related, of course. If you're trapped on a desert island for the next month and there was one record you could bring with you to listen to, what would it be?
I would have to choose. I have to look at my. I have a bunch of CD. I have a CD collection over here.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I'm gonna just choose one. I think it would have to be. Um, I would say Fall Out Boy. Take this to
Ooh,
your grave. Take this to your grave. Because
that's
if
a.
I'm stranded on an island, I'm probably gonna be in the grave soon. So I'll take it.
You will take it to the well. Hopefully, you don't die. I don't want to think anything like super morbid. I was just like, it just happens. You get like
I can't help it.
just happen to get Castaway. Tom Hanks Castaway.
That's
That
another.
another fantastic movie too. But like, yeah, no, I like that. Fall Out Boy again. As much as I don't like their new stuff, kind of similarly to Day to Remember.
Yeah.
Those classic records though are
Oh,
Chef's
you can't.
Kiss.
You can't beat it. You can't beat them.
Seriously, some of the best like I guess it's like pop. I guess it's rock like stuff. Like easily probably some of the best rock stuff of that time period. Like
Yeah,
oh
those riffs, like, I don't know, they're not even like riffs, but they were just the guitar and the bass and like, what's it called? Sugar We're Going Down. I know it's not
oh
on the album, but that just paved the way for like pop punk in general.
oh
Like that
100%.
that was just amazing, amazing. That's all I gotta say on that.
Fantastic. And like just those like at least for me like those three records like, oh, I love those records so much. I have to. I don't think I own any of them, but now I'm gonna have to. Now you have given me a mission, Anthony, to go look for them on vinyl.
You have to. Yeah,
uh,
I was like, I wanted to start collecting vinyls, but I was like, they're too expensive. So I had to go to the second best thing was
with just
CDs.
CDs, yeah, I feel
So
you. I
at
collect
least I,
I used to collect CDs, and I have like a literal whole box full of CDs, like right by my bed over there. But I love vinyl because I have my player and stuff, and I just play them. And I know
yeah,
they're like a little bit more expensive, but I love like the larger album art, so I just buy
yeah,
them.
it's
You know.
definitely worth it. Definitely worth it.
But the next thing, Anthony, one of the last things we're gonna talk about. I've been asking a lot of bands this that I've been having on recently. But people who have made it this far, congrats! Thank you for making it this far. First of all, and secondly, Anthony, what do you want people to take away from, new listeners that are checking out Balcony Talk and are like, man, I really like Anthony's like charisma, his vibe, all that sort of stuff. Like, what do you want people to like really kind of get into the mindset of like when they're getting into this interview, out of this interview and like checking out your music? Like, what do you want them to really think about or like, really delve into, I guess?
Well, you know, I a lot of my music does center around like mental illness and things like that. Um, and I know it's kind of cliche, but I really feel like the subjects I write about, I just don't. I try not to. I try to be as raw as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very vulnerable in what I do. Um, so I guess like the thing, the number one thing I would want people to take away from my music is to just like however they feel about themselves, self-esteem wise, like you're not alone and like you're not an outcast, you're not undesirable. This we have like society has a place for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and like because like and you can even hear it in a lot of my songs. It's like self-esteem issues is a big problem, and it's mental illness is a big problem, and I know it's a lot of bands do talk about it, which is great. um and I don't want to be like just another one of those bands that talk about it, but I try to do it on like such a personal level, and like a lot of the stuff I write about is kind of specific, but a lot of people can relate to it. And so I guess, yeah, I mean, just to take care of yourself and like and the people around you that seem to be struggling.
Yeah, no,
Man, see it.
it's good to, yeah, like I feel like, at least for me, like two things I've kind of learned. I know we're not technically out of the pandemic, but like one thing that I kind of learned, because I took some time off from the channel, like early, no, not early, late last year. And it was just really good to kind of like, take a mental pause. I had been doing it for like, well, this year I'm doing it well over 5 years now at this point, and then
Oh, yeah.
I hadn't stopped for like 4 years. Like I would be like, my family can tell you is that like any waking moment I'd be editing interviews, I'd be staying up late, I'd be like not getting good enough sleep. Like when I went on vacation last year, I literally didn't sleep, and I had to go drive down to my parents' place, and they live in like, they live like 10 hours away by car ride. And I literally, the last minute, I was like editing interviews, and like I put it on a thumb drive, like a literal thumb drive, and I put it in I put it in my bag. And like the next day, I like grabbed my mom's laptop, I like signed into the YouTube channel and stuff, and I like uploaded 3 interviews while I was on vacation. And I was just like,
Dedication right there.
well, I appreciate it, but I don't think like I realize like, and I'm glad you, like, again, I'm glad you talk about mental health. Like I really feel like I didn't take the time for myself. Like, like I was just grinding it until like there was nothing left, and so I feel like people, at least from what I could gather from like your music, is like, obviously it's a different like mental, struggle, but like it still falls under the same like kind of umbrella of that. And so like I feel like, uh, as much as, as I agree with Anthony, like you do need to take time for yourself and like, really kind of like, be attentive to what, and like if you know other people that you haven't talked with in a while, like, don't be afraid to reach out to them and stuff. And like, I know I spent a lot of time like reaching out to people like earlier last year, and like I actually had people reach out to me while I was like taking my my hiatus from the channel for a little bit. And I think it's important to have that network of people that like give a shit about you as a person, and not like, oh, you're the YouTube guy, you do YouTube videos, stuff like that. Like, it was like a genuine like, I hope you're doing well, like I really want to check up on you thing. And so like, I want to do that for like you and other people I have on the channel too, because like, I mean, there's a lot of people you got to keep in contact with, but like,
Right.
you don't know what that means to that person on the end, at the receiving end.
Yeah, I just feel like, people, and it's like a human nature kind of thing. They just people have their sometimes their ego gets in the way, and oh, this person hasn't reached out to me, so why am I going to reach out to them? It's
Oh yeah.
like just drop the ego. Like, we're all human, and like, to your credit, you're an amazing interviewer.
Oh,
Like,
thank you.
I it go conversation went smoothly, and so I definitely think you're doing a great job, and definitely because I'm awkward to begin with. Like, so to have a conversation flow this easily, I got to give you credit.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Anthony. Obviously, I'm gonna pull the floor over to you. Tell them about Balcony Talk, where they can find you at, what you have coming up, where you're at on social media, and just anything else you'd like to plug, talk about, things of that nature.
Got you. So Instagram, I'm at Balcony Talk NYC. YouTube, Balcony Talk. There's this cool feature on YouTube where you can like combine your channel with, like, how like the YouTube generated channels and
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
and
yeah.
combine it, and it like add the subscribers to that channel to your main channel. I found that pretty cool.
That's pretty sick.
But what else is there? Spotify, iTunes, all the good stuff. I mainly just use Instagram and Facebook, obviously Balcony Talk NYC, I think it is. But
Yeah.
yeah, so that's where you can find me.
There we go. Well, I'm pretty sure Anthony reached out on the Pop Punk Network. Again, I had gotten a mass of emails, messages, all that sort of stuff. So I want to make sure, I wanted to give the proper send off for everybody to go check out the Pop Punk Network on Facebook. It's a great group. If you want to always find out about cool bands, there's no
Yeah,
shortage of that there. But go check out Anthony's Balcony Talk. I'll leave all of the links in the description to his new music. By the time this comes out, I think the new song will be out. I'll leave a link for that as well. And go subscribe to his YouTube channel. I think this dude's got some good shit coming. Definitely, I'll be keeping my eyes and ears out for this shit. So if you listen, if you need the recommendation, your boy got it. So go check him out. If you want to see the collaboration between John Feldman, Tom DeLonge, and our good homie here at Balcony Talk, you gotta do. You gotta type in twitter.com if you're on the computer. If you're on your phone, you hit that Twitter app. You at Balcony Talk on Twitter. I don't know what his handle is, but I imagine it's something along those lines. So go at him, go at Tom DeLonge, go at John Feldman.
it can happen. I can foresee the future.
It'll happen. You gotta envision the truth. So
Yes.
let's make it happen. I would honestly, I'd probably hug my phone across the room because I'd be so stoked about it. So if you want to make Anthony and I both stoked about something, you gotta do that.
You know what to
And
do. You'll be
and
my partner.
and I gotta be the typical YouTuber. If you enjoyed this content, make sure to subscribe, hit the like, share it. It goes a long way. I know
Yes.
I hate fucking asking for it, but honestly,
No,
if it helps out the channel, and if you want to see more content like this, then obviously it helps me understand and know what you guys are into, and it's always appreciated. And also, huge thanks to Anthony of Balcony Talk for coming on tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.